solving systems of linear inequalities. So we've done systems of equations 3 different ways, and now we are going to solve systems of linear inequalities. So there is going to be some graphing involved later on in this section. All right, so example 1 just says, tell whether each ordered pair is a solution of the system of linear inequalities. So we are given the first inequality, y is less than 4x. The second inequality, y is greater than or equal to x minus 1. And the third inequality, y is less than or equal to 2x plus 1. So what you need to do here is simply plug in the ordered pair into each and every inequality. So we're going to move down the page so we have a little more room. And let's do that. Let's look at equation number 1. So equation 1, or inequality 1, excuse me, says y is less than 4x. Well, y is, we label these x and y is 0 less than 4 times 1. 4 times 1 is 4. So is 0 less than 4? And yes, in fact, that is true. All right, so now let's look at equation number 2. We have, inequality number 2. I will probably do that the entire section. Y is greater than or equal to x minus 1. Plug your numbers in. Y is 0, greater than or equal to 1 minus 1. So we have 0 is greater than or equal to 0. Well, 0 is not greater than 0, but 0 is equal to 0, so that is true. It doesn't have to take care of both, just one. And now let's look at number 3. On number 3, we have y is less than or equal to 2x plus 1. Y is 0, less than or equal to 2 times 1 plus 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3, so 0 less than or equal than 3, less than or equal to 3. That is also true. So since all 3 of these are true, our answer here is the ordered pair 1, 0 is a solution to the system. Well, give me a second and I'll get my highlighter back up here. Okay, so that's all of example 1. Example 1A. All right, let's now look at example 1B. We have inequality 1, 2, and 3. We are going to do the same exact thing. Now we just have a new ordered pair. Negative 2 is x, negative 8 is y. So let's look at number 1. We have y is less than 4x. Scroll up so we have some room. Y is negative 8 less than 4 times x, which is negative 2. So we have negative 8 less than 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Is negative 8 less than negative 8? And the answer there is no, it's not, because negative 8 is equal to negative 8. So that comes out false. That does not work. Since that does not work, our answer here is that the ordered pair, negative 2, negative 8, is not a solution to the system. Make sure that you underline not whenever you write that so that there's a little emphasis there. Okay? This core concept is talking about the graphing of these linear inequalities. It says graph each inequality in the same coordinate plane. So you notice over here we have 3 inequalities graphed. Find the intersection of the half planes that are solutions to the inequalities. This intersection is the graph of the system. So if the red inequality graphs up, the green inequality graphs down, and the blue inequality graphs to the left, then this little piece right, well, that was supposed to be a highlighter. One second. This little piece right here, this little triangle right there in the middle is the answer, because that's where all 3 of them are graphed. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at in the next example. So here we have graph the system of linear inequalities. Inequality 1, y is greater than negative 2x minus 5. 2, y is less than or equal to x plus 3. And 3, y is greater than or equal to x minus 2. For this, we're going to use our calculator. So let's pull that calculator up there. And we are going to go to a graph screen. Now then, in that graph screen, we are going to, right here, we have f of x, f1 of x equals. We are going to delete that equal sign. And right here, we have a greater than, so we are going to put y is greater than. Type in negative 2x, and I put 0.2, sorry, negative 2x minus 5. All right. If you arrow down, it'll give you a new one where you can type in again. So now we have, one second. All right, so for the second one, we have y is, now if we go to control equal, it's going to bring up our options here. The second one there is less than or equal to, so let's choose that. And x plus 3. If you happen to press enter like I just did, you can just press tab and it'll pull it back up for you. The last one, y is, make sure you press control, enter, pull up. We need a greater than or equal to, so there it is, greater than or equal to x minus 2, and press enter. So now if you look at those 3 graphs, the question I know you have right now is, do you have to graph these on your paper? Absolutely. You for sure have to graph these on your paper. So it may be beneficial for you to graph them individually. If you grab and you look at the colors here, then you can tell that this red x plus 3 goes with this red line. This black x minus 2 goes with the black line. They're both solid because they have an equal to. This dotted line right here is blue, so it goes with the negative 2x minus 5. And it's dotted because it does not have an equal. Those are all things that you should know, but you do have the calculator with you, so you have that available. But yes, you do still have to draw those graphs on your paper. So here we go. We have our green, and we are going to label those. So if I have, starting at the top, y is greater than negative 2x minus 5. Negative 5 is right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be that line right there. So y is greater than negative 2x minus 5. And greater than shades above, I'm just going to put a couple of little arrows, maybe 3 arrows, showing the direction of that shading. Now, I also have shaded here, so you can take a light matte pencil and just shade lightly. Do not shade dark because it will make it very difficult whenever you're doing your assignment. I would maybe just choose to do arrows for right now. You can put more than 3 if you would like. You can put several. If you notice, I have it tinted in that blue, but that's going to be hard for you to do on your paper. All right, so now let's look at y is less than or equal to x plus 3. Well, 1, 2, 3, that's going to be this line here. So y is less than or equal to x plus 3. Make sure you label that line. Less than goes down. So less than always shades below. So I'm going to put arrows there. It is the green, so it's shaded below here. And the last one is the red. X minus 2, negative 2 is the y-intercept. It is greater than, so it is shading above. Now, if you look here, where are all three of those shaded? Well, they are all three shaded right here. It is kind of hard to see the highlighting there, and I apologize for that. But right there is where they are all shaded in the middle. So that is going to be the portion that you highlight whenever you're doing your assignment. Just make sure, like I said before, make sure you shade lightly whenever you're shading, or just do the arrows. Wait until it's verified and you know for a fact that this is your answer before you use your highlighter. Just to make sure that we have all of this and we can tell what's what. Here's some crayon to show you where the shading is. Okay, so moving on to example 3. This one says graph the system of linear inequalities, just like the last one. But if you notice, we have inequality 1, 2, and 3. Looking at inequality 1, it does not have y by itself. It's not ready to graph. So we need to work on that. So let's take inequality 1. We have 2x plus 3y less than 6. Work with it just like you do a regular equation and get y by itself. So we are going to subtract 2x from both sides. They cancel on the left, and we get 3y is less than. These are not like terms, so you cannot combine them. We have negative 2x plus 6 because it is a positive 6. Now, go ahead and divide each and every term by 3. When you divide everything by 3, those cancel and you get y is less than negative 2/3 x plus 2. All right, so that's the first one. It's done. I'm going to go back up here and we're going to write that right here just so we can kind of keep track. We have y is less than negative 2/3 x plus 2. Okay, the second one, it's good to go. The third one, we have negative 2x plus y is less than negative 2. So let's look at it. Negative 2x plus y less than negative 2. Go ahead and add 2x to both sides here. Cancel. And y is less than, again, these are not like terms, you cannot combine them, 2x minus 2. So I'm going to go ahead and write that up here. Y is less than 2x minus 2. Now we just need to graph these. So let's go ahead and pull up our calculator and do that. When you have your calculator like this, and you have a graph already there, if you will press delete 3 times and hit yes, it will clear your screen for you. So here we go. Press tab, type in y is less than, so make sure you press control equals, get your less than, and we have negative 2 divided by 3 x plus 2. If you press the arrow down, you won't have to hit tab again. The next one is y. Make sure you press Control equal. Go ahead and type in, or I'm sorry, click on your greater than or equal to. Make sure you grab your negative. 2 divided by 3. X plus 4. Arrow down again. And let's put in the last one, which is y. Control equal to get your less than. 2x minus 2. And press enter. And there you have all three graphs. Okay, so now that we have these in our calculator, we need to go ahead and put them on our paper. So if you notice, you have a dotted line here with this equation, and see how they're kind of overlapped? The hand there, if you hold down, it'll close and you can move the equation. Same as here. Make sure you're on the equation and not the line, but you can move the equation so that you can read everything properly. So let's scroll down that we have a little bit more room right here. And here's our graph. Compare that. All right, so let's go ahead and label these. The first inequality that we had was y less than negative 2/3 x plus 2. So less than is dotted. It's up at plus 2, so that's right here. Let's label that one, y less than negative 2/3 x plus 2. It is less than, so it shades below. Go ahead and put your arrows there. All right, then the next one that we have is y is greater than negative 2/3 x plus 4. So plus 4 is right here. Label y is greater than negative 2/3 x plus 4. Put your arrows above because greater than shades above. It's greater than or equal to. So that's why we have a solid line on that one. And then right here we have a dotted line. For the last one, y is less than 2x minus 2. And so less than shades below. So we are shading below here. Always think as less than as below, greater than as above. That way it's not confusing. Don't think of right or left unless it's a vertical. So always think above or below. Now, is there a place where they all shade in the same region? And no, there's not, because the blue shades below, the green shades above, they're going opposite directions. So in that case right there, our answer here is a no solution. Okay. Let's get that highlighted. And we can move on to our last example. And in the last example here, we are going to write a system of linear inequalities represented by the graph. So we have three inequalities here. Let's go ahead and label these. I'm going to take this one and label it as number 1. This one is going to be number 2. And the vertical is going to be number 3. All right, so let's look at equation 1. Equation 1, we need two things here. If we're going to write an equation, we're going to look at y equals mx plus b. The two things that we need are the slope and the y-intercept. So make sure you know what those things are and how to find them. Slope and y-intercept. Slope, remember, is rise over run. Your y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So for the very first one, our y-intercept is right here. And that is going to be, let's go ahead and label this number 1. B is negative 2. M is, well, let's figure this out. We have another point right here. So if I rise, I'm going to rise 1. And if I run, I'm going to run 2. So my rise over run is 1 over 2. Now all I have to do is plug those things in and I have an equation. Y and then 1/2 x plus, not plus, I'm sorry, I was wrong. 1/2 x minus 2. Now the only other thing is we're not going to use an equal sign. You notice I left that blank right there. We're not using an equal sign. We're looking at the shading. And on this one, it is shaded above. So above means greater than, and it's dotted so it does not have an equal line on it. All right, now let's go and look at equation number 2. So on equation 2, or inequality, excuse me, 2, our y-intercept is right here. That's going to be at 1. And let's look at our rise and our run. So our rise and our run are more of a fall and a run. So I'm going to fall 1. So if I run down, it's negative. And then I'm going to run, sorry, I'm going to rise down. If I rise down, it's negative. I'm going to run to the right 2. So my y-intercept, which is b, is 1. My slope, which is m, is negative 1 over 2. Now I can plug those in. Y, and then negative 1/2 x plus 1. Let's go back and look at the shading. This one shades below the line. Below is less than, and it's dotted. So it's just less than. All right, let's look at the third one really quick. The third one has no y-intercept at all. It has an x-intercept of negative 3, and it's vertical. When it is a vertical line, it is just an x. So number 3 is just going to be x and negative 3. Let's look at the shading. It shades to the right. Remember I said only look at left and right when it's vertical, so that's going to be greater than. And it is a solid line, so that's equal to. So our 3 equations, or 3 inequalities for this one are y is greater than 1/2 x minus 2, y is less than negative 1/2 x plus 1, and x is greater than or equal to negative 3.